am cognizant of the
O children of men, know ye not why we created you all from the same dust, that no one should exalt himself over the other? Ponder at all times in your hearts how ye were created, since we have created you all from one same substance. It is incumbent on you to be even as one soul, to walk with the same feet, eat with the same mouth, and dwell in the same land.
Hostilities are still through non-hostility, this and unending truth. Unlike those who don't realize that we are here on the verge of perishing, those who do, their quarrels are still.
By your inner self. Don't let your inner self degrade. Your inner self is your best friend, and also you yourself are its worst enemy. The message is, let our conscience, which is our best friend, lead us. Thank you.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the name of God, the most gracious, the most merciful. Wal-Asr. God is swearing by time. Inna al-insana lafi khusr. Verily all of mankind is at loss. Illa ladina amanu, except for those who believe, wa amilu salihat, and who follow it with deeds of righteousness. Wa tawassaw bil haqq, and who enjoin with one another the pursuit of truth. Wa tawassaw bis sabr, and who enjoin with one another in patient perseverance. The reading of the Quran.
We have a commandment to pursue justice. And we learn from the great sage Rabbi Tarfon in the Mishnah, the book of oral law. Lo alecha ha'chal more. You are not able to complete the work. Lo ataben parin l'batel b'mena, and you are not free to stop trying.
And it came to pass that King Uzziah sent a proclamation throughout the land round about, that there should not any unbeliever persecute those who belong to the church of God. And there was a strict command throughout all the churches that there should be no persecutions among them, that there should be equality among all men, that they should let no pride nor haughtiness disturb their peace, that every man should esteem himself as his neighbor, and laboring with their own hands for their support. Yea, and all their priests and teachers should labor with their own hands for their support. In all cases, save there were in sickness and in much want. And in doing these things, that they should abound in the grace of God. And there began to be much peace again in the land. And the people began to be very numerous, and to be scattered abroad on the face of the land. And the Lord would visit them and prosper them.
Let the mountains and hills bring a message of peace for the people. Uprightly he will defend the poorest. He will save the children of those in need. In his days virtue will flourish, a universal peace till the moon is no more. His empire shall stretch from sea to sea, from the river to the ends of the earth. He will free the poor man who calls to him, and those who need his help. He will have pity on the poor and feeble, and save the lives of those in need. Blessed be his name forever, enduring as long as the sun. May every race in the world be blessed in him, and all the nations call him blessed.
Bhaktan ki chal nirali. The lifestyle of as devotee of God is unique and distinct. Chal nirali bhaktan ki, become Marg Chandra. They follow the most difficult paths. They renounce greed, avarice, egotism, and desire. They do not talk too much. The path they take is sharper than a two-edged sword and finer than a hair. O Waheguru, the Sikh name for God, we, your children of diverse faiths and colors, come here together to honor and celebrate Reverend Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday and seek your blessings. Please grant us the wisdom to follow the roadmap of peace, nonviolence, and brotherly love drawn by Dr. King. Sat Sri Akal.
I like to think about Dr. King when he talks about his engagement with those of the other faith traditions. Remembering that if you talked about Abraham today, well, you would say, well, if you're Jewish, you'll say, well, he's a Jew. But if you're a Christian, you say, no, Abraham belongs to us. And if you're a Muslim, you say, well, Abraham surely is a Muslim. The reality is it doesn't matter what you call him. What matters is that he has submitted his will to the will of the Almighty. With a consistent message to us, so consistent that when he wrote in the Gandhi Society's journal, and he was known not to respond to critics about his work, but he decided again to respond to the critics saying, why are you holding up Gandhi? Gandhi's not a Christian. We expect you, because of your religious background, you should be promoting our teachers and leaders. Dr. King replied, and I quote, "It is ironic, yet inescapably true, that the greatest Christian of the modern world was a man who never embraced Christianity." See, Dr. King was already talking about the 99%. But let me share with you some information that I learned about from Citigroup. Because we're now experiencing the widest gap between the haves and the have-nots. Dr. King, when he was organizing the sanitation workers, he was trying to say that there's something wrong with this system. Let me tell you what Citicorp said. They said, we posit that the drivers of plutonomy in the USA, plutonomy, that's one of them probably Martin Luther King words, plutonomy, where the rich get richer and the poor get poorer, are likely to strengthen, entrenching, and buttressing plutonomy where it exists. And the 6 drivers of plutonomy are: 1, an ongoing technology and biotechnological revolution; 2, capitalist-friendly governments and tax regimes. Let me stop for a minute. Everything that happened in the bailout of Wall Street was legal. You're trying to figure out why people aren't going to jail because of all of the foreclosure crisis. Why are they going to jail? Because it's legal, most of it. Because of friendly tax regimes. The third, globalization has rearranged the global supply chain with mobile wealth, capitalized elites who travel around the country. They don't really have a nation that they belong to. And let me remind you that Martin Luther King said why he opposed the Vietnam War. Acknowledging that at that time he said, my nation is the greatest purveyor of violence on this earth. Because they're not talking about the economics of war. Fourth, the greater financial complexities and innovations, where a poor person will get a loan and they can't even figure out who the debtor is, because they've sold the instrument so many times. And fifth, Citicorp says the rule of law, where law will be used to support the rich. And six, patent protections are all well established in the United States, Canada, and the UK. And they're going to be strengthened in emerging markets. What does that mean? That means that a poor rice farmer in India will be getting seed from Monsanto. That cannot be grown again. He has to go back to Monsanto in order to get his genetically modified crop. And so he becomes, in his own country, sharecroppers all over again. And I came to see for the first time that the Christian doctrine of love, operating through the Gandhian method of nonviolence, is one of the most potent weapons available to an oppressed people for their struggle for freedom. Dr. King wouldn't leave us today without talking about the new law that has been signed by our President Barack Obama. National Defense Authorization Act, which may strip away our rights to protest against our government. And I would warn you, as he would warn you, about the excesses in law, and to say that no law that is unjust is a law